What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, it is my review of Mouse PI for Hire, releasing on April 16th, 2026. The debut game from Fumi Games. The Steam description reads like this: join private investigator Jack Pepper on a guns-blazing, jazz-filled adventure in Mouse PI for Hire. Mouse combines the charm of hand-drawn rubber hose animation, inspired by the classic cartoons of the 1930s, with the adrenaline and action of an explosive first-person shooter. Very, very hyped for this game going into it. I've been paying attention to this game for years. I think it got announced maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and ever since, that art style really drew me in. That Cuphead 1930s cartoon aesthetic, I mean, that was just all over the place. It's a detective game. It just had so much style to it, it seemed like. And now it's finally in our hands after many delays. I have finished it. I've had, I think, about a week. I've had it finished for about a week, so I've had a week to sit with my thoughts on the game, and I have a lot to say about Mouse PI for Hire. So without further ado, let's dive in. Like always, I want to start this review off by talking about the gameplay of Mouse PI for Hire, let you know what you will be doing in this game. So it's a first-person shooter, but it's classified as a boomer shooter, a genre that I do really enjoy, but I really want to dive more into. There's a bunch of games out there. A boomer shooter always draws me in, but I really haven't played a lot of boomer shooters. So your OG first-person shooters like Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein, a lot of games recently have come out and have kind of taken that style and have added to it. So just off the top of my head, Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun, that's a big one. I feel like that's come out recently. A lot of games have taken that style, first person, super fast, enemies all over the place, arena style, single player gameplay. That is what Mouse PI for Hire is going for with its gameplay, and that's what it achieves with its gameplay. It's a very solid first person shooter. I don't think it does anything crazy. I don't think it's Doom level of quality gameplay, but it is good gameplay. It is still a lot of fun with the combat movement. It is a fast-paced game. It does feel really good, and as the game goes on, you'll get a bunch of new abilities, like being able to wall run, double jump, dash, the kind of things that you do see in these games. But there's some cool ideas thrown in there, and it does give you, as the game goes on, it's always giving you new tools to mess with, even towards the end of the game. The weapons are a lot of fun to mess with. Very unique weapons as well. Definitely fit the style and the theme of the game. And again, just like with those combat abilities, movement abilities, it is giving you these weapons throughout the game. So it's not just, here's 2 weapons, and then at the middle of the game we're going to give you a bunch of new weapons, and then you'll have all the weapons, 2/3 of the way through the game. No, this gives you a weapon, every hour or two, and then you're still getting new weapons 2 hours before you're finishing the game, or even an hour before you're finishing the game. There are a good bit of weapons here, and all of them have great animations, which we'll kind of talk about more in the art style and visuals. I kind of want to leave that, all the animation talk, for that part of the video. But the game, I think, does weigh heavily on the art style and the animation, which is not a bad thing at all, but the gameplay is good. It gets the job done. It's still a lot of fun. The weapons feel good. The shotgun, usually in these boomer shooters, a shotgun is the big, pretty much the best weapon in the game. In this game, it does feel very, very good, but all these weapons have really cool, kind of throwbacks and Easter eggs, I guess, like James' gun, the Tommy gun, which is what I use the most throughout the game. It is a lot of fun to use that. Progression we'll kind of talk about in the next part of the video, but Each gun has its basic fire, but then also you do unlock an alt fire for each gun. So you're going around and each gun does have its own unique alt fire. So like the Tommy gun, you're able to hit your alt fire button and then you start spraying and praying all over the place. It's a lot of fun to mess with. I forgot what the pistol's called off of the top of my head, but that one turns into like a triple burst pistol, which is really cool. So all the weapons have a lot of fun mechanics, and the alt fire is a lot of fun to mess with as well. You'll go around, and throughout these levels, they're definitely very, old school Doom coded, where you're gonna find secrets all over the place. It definitely wants you to explore every nook and cranny, find vents to crawl through. It really does fit that detective theme where you're crawling around, sneaking around in vents, going and having to go in the dark places, turn your flashlight to look around and find secrets all over the place. I think what I found not really frustrating, but just kind of like whatever, is these secrets usually just turn into, coins, or I guess money, or schematics. It's usually always the same thing. Maybe you'll find a collectible or two in a safe, which we'll kind of talk about that in a second. But it felt fun to find these secrets and explore and discover all this stuff, all the content that the developers threw into one level. But the reward for getting that secret, was just fine. I didn't think the reward was always that well worth it, but it being so much fun to find all these secrets, that was the part that, even though the reward wasn't great, I still had a lot of fun finding the secrets. So I was still going for and getting these rewards. Usually maybe it's some ammo hidden off the side or just some extra money, but the reward for finding these secrets, not too great. I think that could have been done better. The tail lock picking, very cool mechanic. It's definitely, I feel like a lot of people have seen this mechanic and have given it praise because it's a unique way to approach lock picking. It is a really cool mechanic. You do use your tail to lock pick saves and doors, and it's a cool mini game where you're kind of going through this maze. There might be a spike here and there, and you just have to get through and hit all the pins before you get out so you can unlock the safe or unlock the door. Sometimes it might throw a wrench in there where you don't have a certain amount of moves before you run out and you can't move anymore. You're able to go back and backtrack, so if you see that you kind of messed up, you won't be able to hit all the pins, you can backtrack. But it'll throw in a timer, it'll throw in a certain amount of moves. Really cool ideas there to kind of switch things up, freshen things up with that so it doesn't get super stale throughout the runtime of the game. I think they are, pretty easy lock-picking puzzles, but I was still having a lot of fun. It was still a really cool mechanic, and definitely a welcome addition to lockpicking. That we've seen a lot of lockpicking mini games in games recently, and they just kind of all rinse and repeat from what we've seen before. So seeing this one was very, very cool. A different mechanic for sure. So you're gonna look around all these levels, collectibles, puzzles, boss battles. Boss fights are pretty cool in this game. Some of them were, kind of just your standard boss fight, but there was some with a lot of cool mechanics. Definitely, I really want to wait and talk about animation, the art style, and the visuals. We're going to. It's hard not to talk about it because it is so good, but all the bosses look great. But the mechanics in the boss fights feel good as well. Being able to, there's one boss fight early in the game where you are in this mansion and it'll start, I think it's like rays or some beams, something like that. Obviously, if you stand in them, it's going to damage you. So it gives you these, glass walls, well, not glass, but just walls to hide behind that kind of pop up out of the ground. You have to hide behind before you take the damage. That was a really cool mechanic. There's just a lot of really solid mechanics in these boss fights. Like I said, some of them feel pretty standard, pretty basic, but they're all fun. They are all really fun boss fights. I think the gameplay in this game is good. I don't think it's great, anything like that. I think it just gets the job done. It gets you through the game. I was still having a lot of fun with it. Enemy variety is pretty solid as well. Nothing crazy, but you got your big brute enemies that take a lot of damage. You got some enemies with shields, some snipers, like dogs. I think it does a really cool thing with the enemy variety where it's not just all, mice. It's not just all mice. You're fighting dogs, alligators. Does a really cool thing there as well. I don't know what they're called, but there's some flying enemies as well. So enemy variety is pretty good. Overall, gameplay is good. I do like the gameplay. I did enjoy it. It's not my favorite part of the game, but I was enjoying what I was playing. I was still having fun with it. It just didn't blow my socks off. It did not blow anything out of the water. It is really compared to like a Doom, and it's hard to do that. And with this kind of game, you don't really want to compare it to the Doom gameplay, because that is just so top of the class when it comes to these kind of games, and it's not really going for that. I think it really does stand on its visuals and art style a lot, and the gameplay is just there. It's fun. It is still fun. It's good gameplay, but there's a lot of other parts about this game that I still really enjoy a lot more than the gameplay. And now we'll talk about progression. I've kind of already touched on in-game progression, or I guess with the weapons and the abilities that you unlock. You just unlock those through gameplay. There's no extra weapons on the side. I think there's one extra weapon that you don't just unlock through playing the game through the main story. But for the most part, all the weapons, all the abilities you're going to get through the main story. That's how you unlock those. But there's also progression out of levels. So after each level, you'll see that this doesn't really touch on progression, but it's a really cool kind of small fun mechanic where you can actually drive around Mouseburg from level to level. You get a little top-down view of the city, very small car that Jack Pepper is driving, at least compared to the rest of the city. It's a really cool map. It's a really cool way, instead of just, having a menu with all the levels on it, you're able to actually drive, have some sort of control over which level you go to next. And there's stuff always moving around. You'll see planes flying, other cars driving, maybe some boats. So everything's always moving in this kind of top-down view of the city when you're driving from level to level. But you'll go back to your office, and it's this little hub that is a lot of fun to come back to and explore, talk to different characters. That is where the progression comes in. So most of the progression is tied to schematics. At a very early point in the game, you unlock the ability to use schematics to upgrade your weapons. I think it, again, gets the job done just like the gameplay. It could see some improvements. The gameplay definitely could see some improvements. I think it's still good, but there's definitely things that can be done to make it better. It's still a lot of fun though. Progression, same thing. It's good, it gets the job done, but there definitely could be improvements. Basically, you find these schematics throughout your levels, exploring. They might be in saves, or they just might be, off to the side, off the beaten path. They're not super hard to find, and you take them back to your hub, to your office, and you can upgrade the weapon. So each weapon has 3 separate upgrades. The first upgrade unlocks that alt fire, and it just kind of boosts the stats. And then the 2 upgrades past that also just give you more ammo, do more damage, maybe more fire rate. Pretty basic upgrades. Like I said, it gets the job done. It's not the most fun system to mess with, but it's not bad either. I think it definitely could see some improvements. If a sequel were to come around or something like that, this is something that I could see progression being something they could definitely improve on to make it a lot more fun to progress and unlock new upgrades, or do just some different unique things with the upgrades instead of just giving you stat boost for the rest of the upgrades after you unlock the alt fire. It's pretty basic, it gets the job done. I will just go ahead and talk about the kind of hub or the office real quick, because like I said, it's a lot of fun to mess with. You can go around, talk to the side characters. There is a baseball card mini game that at first I was enjoying, but it just kind of got repetitive pretty quick. I mean, it's fun to mess with. It's definitely something to do. There's an achievement for, I think, winning 20 or 30 games. But, it's just there. Like, it's nothing that, is going to pull you away from the main game. At least for me, it didn't. Basically, you are batting for 1 inning, and then you're pitching for 1 inning, and you'll put a kind of base card down. Maybe it's a 6-power hitter card. And if the opponent puts down a 5-power hitter card, or 5-power pitching card, then they are able, well, you would win that round just because you have the higher card. You're able to add in like stat boosting. I mean, it's fun to mess with, but I don't think it's definitely going to draw your attention away from the game. It's probably not designed to do that. It's just something added in there. It definitely fits the vibe, the theme of the game. And, you know, it's a welcome addition. It definitely didn't really take up too much of my time. I only played a couple matches of it, but, you know, you get tokens for it, which you can unlock through the... You can use those tokens to unlock the prize machine, which you get a special reward for. Let's just say that. So there's that there as well. And then just, again, don't really want to get into the art style visuals right this second, but this hub always is moving around. Characters always are doing something. They're walking around. There's cars on the top of the bridge that are driving, or under the bridge, like where your car is parked. Everything's always moving around. It's just awesome to be able to step up into Jack Pepper's office and just look out the window and see that the world is always moving. It's not stale at all. Even when characters aren't moving, they have idle animations to where they're just kind of sitting there. Maybe they're kind of bouncing around. There's idle animations too, so it always feels alive. So that's just kind of touching on that. The progression, solid. You know, there's money that can be gained. You don't really need the money. That's another kind of weird thing about it. You can collect the money. There's money all over all these levels. But the only thing you wouldn't unlock with the money is you can buy collectibles from the shop and buy ammo. That's it. There's actually no other point to collecting money. And ammo is easily found in levels. So it's not like you absolutely need to use the shop, utilize the shop to buy ammo. You're going to find it in the levels. And then the collectibles, there's newspapers, comic books, there are baseball cards you can collect, which are, again, all really cool collectibles. They fit with the time. You can read up on these newspapers or read up on all the comic book pieces that you find. So that's all really cool, but money as a currency is something you can go and find. It's not useful at all. I think there's not really any good use for it. They definitely could have done something better or cooler with that. That was kind of a big misfire. I think progression is solid, and it's definitely something that gets the job done, but could be improved on in a future sequel. If we get that, it would be sick if we did. But progression is solid. And now the part of the video that I've been most excited to talk about: art style, visuals, performance. This art style and the visuals are killer. It was the part of the game that drew me in from the start. It had me keeping my eye on the development of this game, waiting to see when are we finally going to be able to play this game. And they absolutely delivered on the art style and the visuals. This game is gorgeous. I love this art style. They absolutely killed it with the art style and the visuals. So many things to talk about. The animations, they were always talking about all of the hand-drawn animations that they did in the development of this game and that are in the game, and you can clearly tell each weapon has just awesome animations, really cool reload animations. The animations for killing enemies or when you're shooting enemies, everything is, like I kind of said before, always moving in this game. There's so much to what I'm sure went into the art style and the visuals. I mean, enemy death animations with weapons like the Devarnisher, where it melts the skin off of the enemies and you see that animation happen real time. I mean, it just looks so good. Visually, I mean, stunning. Absolutely stunning. All the levels that you go to, there's a lot of levels on this game. We'll kind of talk about that with the story part of the video, but a lot of levels, and I think it does a great job of giving you, obviously, you're stuck in black and white for the whole time, but the locations that you go to are always different. You're going to opera houses, mansions, sewers, you know, you're going to like Hollywood themed movie sets. It's always giving you different locations to go to, and each location, even though it's stuck in that black and white aesthetic, feels different. There's things that feel different in each location that make that location feel unique and distinct as well. I think they did a great job with that. I mean, I could keep talking about the animations, art style, the visuals. Performance was really good as well. I don't remember having any performance hiccups at all. It always felt really good to play this game. It felt super smooth, so no issues there with performance at all. Playing on PC, I'm not sure how console is, but I'm sure it's probably good also on console. I haven't heard anything really from anybody else on performance on console, but PC performance felt really, really good. But man, the art style and the visuals, I'm just trying to think of where I could go and talk about. I mean, when you're talking to characters, they're always, you know, lip syncing, but then they're doing different animations while you're talking to them as well. I could go on and on about the art style and visuals. I mean, I feel like most people really praise this part of the game, and rightfully so. It is done very well. I have a couple clips to show that off. Mouse PI just does a fantastic job of taking that rubber hose animation and just going wild with it. They do such a great job. This art style, if I ever see it in a game, it's just going to draw me in right away. No matter what the game is going to be about, it just always draws me in. And the way that it takes those visuals and the style and the theme of the game and puts it into every part of this game is fantastic. Everything in this game, from a art style and visual and animation standpoint, you can just tell it was handcrafted with a lot of love and passion. Fantastic job to the art team, animation team, visual team. Everyone who worked on that part of the game did a killer job. Fantastic art style, visuals, performance in Mouse PI for Hire. Now we'll talk about the Mouse PI for Hire soundtrack. Another part of this game that is fantastic. The soundtrack is so good, and you kind of thought it would be just from the aesthetic and the feel of the game. Like I said, they take that 1930s art style and visuals, they just take that theme and attach it and put it into every other part of this game, and that includes the soundtrack, which is composed by Patryk Scelina, or Scelina. I probably messed that up, I do apologize, but he did a fantastic job composing this game. I looked into him and what his past compositions have been. I have not recognized any of these other games that he's done, but I feel like this is the first big one that he has gotten the chance to compose. He's done some other smaller things. If I'm wrong about that, let me know down in the comments. But I feel like this is the big one where he's really gotten a chance to shine, and he does a fantastic job. You might just think, oh, it's just going to be a super jazzy, chill soundtrack. You know, you hear the main theme that you heard in the start of the video, and you're like, yeah, I mean, this is just going to be a super chill soundtrack. And that part is very good. It has a mix of those slow, jazzy tracks with a lot of fast tracks, a lot of high-paced, high-action, high-energy tracks, but then they throw tracks in there that you don't expect. I mean, there's a lot of variety with the soundtrack, a lot more than you would think. My only issue is that there's not more songs. The soundtrack isn't longer. What is there is so good. I just want more of it, and that's a good complaint to have. I just want more of this soundtrack. They do a killer job. Great job from Patryk. He killed it. Lots of great tracks. Pretty much every track in this game is a banger that you could listen to, that you should listen to. Even if you don't plan on playing this game or this game doesn't appeal to you, you still should go check out the soundtrack. There's a lot of great tracks that fit in with the vibe of the game. Songs you'll hear on repeat, but every time they come on, it always hits. like driving back to the office and hearing just that really chill piano tune. There's a lot of moments like that where you'll hear repeat tracks, but they always hit because they always just hit the certain mood that the game is going for. Soundtrack in this game is killer. I want to talk about the writing in Mouse PI for Hire just for a quick second, because it takes, like I said, the 1930s aesthetic that is in every part of this game, not just from the visuals, but it does attach it to the dialogue and the writing. The dialogue, no pun intended, but I mean it literally, but I don't at the same time, very cheesy, because there are a lot of cheese puns that might get on your nerves for the runtime of the game. Maybe you just don't see the appeal of it, but I had a lot of fun with the way that they were able to incorporate cheese into a lot of the dialogue in this game. You know, blue cheese is drugs. I think fondue is whiskey. They're talking about, you know, mozzarella and things stinking like rotten gorgonzola. They just throw all these cheeses in there, and they obviously had a lot of fun really just taking that part of it and just running away with it and just having a lot of fun with the writing and the dialogue. But there's also some great writing moments that aren't silly, some very serious moments. The voice acting is fantastic. Troy Baker as Jack Pepper kills it. All the side characters do as well. Wanda, Tammy, John in the bar, they all kill it with the dialogue they were given. The writing is great. The voice acting is a lot of fun. Like I said, a lot of silly, funny moments, but then also your serious, you know, good story moments, good writing moments, and then also just some really great voice acting moments. I have a couple clips to show that off.
Spare me an etymology lesson. I need facts, Igor.
No, Master. It's Igor.
That's what I said.
No, you said Igor. But it's Igor.
Oh, for the love of what's with the robot babe? Heat and ash, he said. Right. Yeah, I don't know. What the hell? Oh, Lord. Oh, John, I watched mice shredded by shells. 2 weeks, John. 2 weeks in no man's land, living on mud, blood, and rainwater. They gassed us, John. Heavy clouds lingering over the trenches, and that sound. Oh, that sound like gas. Gas! So I know hard, John. I know hell, and I know horrible. But this, I cannot smell this, John. There ain't no coming back from this, John.
Now we'll talk about the story in Mouse PI for Hire. I'll give a quick basic plot premise. No spoilers at all in this review. So the setting of the game is a fictional city, Mouseburg, in 1934. It mimics a 1930s New York. There's a lot of things going on. Corruption in the city, cheese prohibitions, cheese legging, organized crime. There's mice, shrews. There's a lot going on with the setting. And the basic plot premise is you are playing as Jack Pepper, a PI for hire, and Wanda, a side character in the game, or I guess you could consider her a main character, calls on Jack to investigate the case of the missing magician. And then there's also a murder of a stage assistant, Betty Lynch. The magician is Steve Bandel, who's an old friend of Jack's. And then you have the murder of Betty Lynch that you have to solve as well. So these two cases kind of coincide together and start you off on the journey. And going into this game, I didn't really know what to expect from the story. I thought maybe it was going to be, a case here. It might take 2-3 hours. Boom, get that done. You might be able to pick between different cases. You might have a lot of different cases to go and take on. Side cases. I knew there were going to be side jobs in this game as well. So I didn't think it was going to be anything that was going to have just like a big overarching story. I thought you'd go and tackle many cases, shorter cases that would only take a couple hours, and that's kind of what you do, but the game focuses on 3 cases that all are going on at the same time. Sometimes you can pick which case to go after, but these 3 cases are going on at the same time, and then they all kind of combine into one big overarching story, which at first I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But towards the end of the game, I did appreciate the way that the game handled its story, the progression of it, having there be one big story instead of smaller stories, which I think the smaller stories still could have worked as well, but having the big story kind of coincide with the 3 cases is really cool as well. Sometimes throughout this main game, it does get linear, so you'll only be able to do 1 level at a time, only follow 1 case, but then it'll kind of branch off, give you 2 levels that you can go and tackle in whichever order, whichever case that you think is the most important to you, or the most important to go and track down, the one you care the most about. So that was really cool. There's a case board in your office that, it's a cool concept. We've seen games try to do it before, but it's nothing crazy. All you do is you find clues throughout the levels that you can just stick onto this board. It does pretty much everything for you. They have little captions to them that kind of explain what the clue is or what the picture is. And towards the end of the game, if you have a bunch of clues, it's just a complete mess of clues on the board with, lines attaching to everything, connecting all the dots. But it's not really a mechanic. It's just you put the clues on the board and it kind of does everything for you. It would be kind of cool to see, it do something different with that. Maybe do something more in depth with that. Kind of let you solve everything. That would be kind of cool. But it still gets the job done. There are side jobs as well, which I thought were going to be like side cases. Maybe not cases that were attached at all to the main story, or maybe you could get info from that side case that would help you in the main story. But these side jobs are just kind of just fetch quests, hey, look out for this in this level, and if you find it, bring it back to me. Nothing crazy. And again, the rewards, kind of like I mentioned earlier, with exploring off the beaten path, opening saves, crawling through vents, finding secrets, not usually too crazy at all. The side jobs are a little bit underwhelming in this game. I thought they'd be really cool side cases with their own stories. They're just kind of fetch quests. But the main story overall, I think, is good. I don't think it's great. There's a lot of backstory that I didn't even really know about, but you kind of pick up on. And there's some cool things in this story, but it's definitely the part of the game that I wanted more out of. I think the way that it structures its story is really cool, but I just didn't really get attached to what was happening in the story. I did enjoy the main character, Jack Pepper. I enjoyed the side characters. They're solid side characters, but the story itself, you know, the mystery of the missing magician, what happened to the stage assistant, nothing really crazy there. It was all just good. It was good story, definitely not bad story at all, but it left me wanting more. It took me, I want to say 13 to 14 hours. I did play this on the Xbox PC app. I think that said like 16, but then my in-game clock I think said like 11 and a half hours. So I'm just going to say maybe somewhere in the middle just to kind of even it out. So the developers did say this game could take you 12 to 20 hours depending on how you play. There are a lot of levels in this game. I think there's over 20 levels. So you're going to be doing a lot. This is not your typical short boomer shooter. There's a lot of content here to go and mess around with, and the story does go on for that long. It could go on for the 12 to 20 hours. I think the story just didn't really grab me like I wanted it to. I think, like I said, the structure of it I had a lot of fun with. The characters I did enjoy. The story itself, the mystery, the detective approach to it just didn't really grab me. I think they definitely could have gone with that a little bit better, maybe took a different approach to it. Like I said, maybe, you know, I like the idea of having different cases going on all at once and it all combining into, you know, trying to stop the corruption of the city or the violence on the shrews. All that's a really cool concept, but I just didn't really think it came to a great conclusion or great story moments. It's good story. It's definitely not bad story. It's still good story. There's some fun moments in there, but overall I think that the story I wanted more out of. Still enjoyed it, still had a good time with it, but I did want more out of the story in Mouse PI for Hire. So what is the verdict on Mouse PI for Hire? The scale that I've been using is 6 words, 6 adjectives that I can use. Pick one word out of those 6 to best describe a game. That scale goes masterpiece, amazing, great, good, okay, and bad. And on that scale, I would say Mouse PI for Hire is a great game. There's no bad part of Mouse PI for Hire. All of the parts of this game are either good, great, or just fantastic. The soundtrack is so good. Art styles, visuals, animations, fantastic. The writing is a lot of fun. It's really good. But there are parts of this game that I think are good but could be better, and those are gameplay, progression, the story I think is good but could be better. Those 3 parts of the game I still enjoyed, got some enjoyment out of, but I was wanting more out of those. Something like the gameplay I could see, you know, it's a boomer shooter, what'd you expect? I think the gameplay out of those 3 is definitely the one that, like I said, it gets the job done. It could be better, but it's not the part of the game that I do want the most out of. It does get the job done. It's a lot of fun. The progression I feel like definitely could be better. Progressing through these levels, getting the schematics, upgrading your weapons just could feel a lot better. It's very basic. I think, you know, the currency, money, not really being very useful at all. That could be implemented on better in the future, give you more things to unlock, or just do something different with that to give you a different kind of progression. And with the story, I liked the structure of it. I had a lot of fun with that. I just think that by the end of the game, I just thought this game had a good story. I was wanting more out of it though, whether it be, you know, doing side cases or side jobs, the side jobs not being too great in my opinion. I was really hoping for some really good side stories or side cases to go and tackle, but you just have these kind of fetch questy side jobs. I think the story had a lot of cool themes to it, had a lot going for it, but just didn't really grab me the way I was wanting it to, which could be improved on, and hopefully, maybe, I could see a sequel to this game. I would love a sequel to this game if they were to go back and tackle it. I think that they will definitely go and tackle something new. This developer is very talented, obviously. A lot of great talent and passion went into this game, and it shows in a lot of this game. But if they were to go back and do a Mouse PI for Hire 2, or just some sort of new mouse game, if they can improve on the progression if they go back to a boomer shooter. And then I just think the story, it's obviously subjective. Some people might take in the story and really enjoy it. There were some good parts to it, some good themes. I think overall, the conclusion of it, I think, it just didn't grab me. I was really hoping for a lot more out of the story. So there's good parts to Mouse PI for Hire, but then there's really fantastic parts. There's no bad part of Mouse PI for Hire. So that's why I think it's a great game. There's just some things about it that could be improved upon, that could get it up to that amazing tier of game. I think it's a great game though. If this game is something that intrigues you in the slightest from its art style, or maybe the bits and pieces of the soundtrack you heard in this video, or just it just seems like your type of game, I would absolutely go and recommend trying this game. I think everyone should try this game. If there's just one part of the game that interests you, if it is that great 1930s rubber hose art style, or it is the boomer shooter gameplay, or maybe you want a great detective story. I thought it was a good detective story, but you might enjoy it a lot more than I did. I think there's definitely something here for everybody. And I think if this intrigues you in the slightest, you should go check it out. Mouse PI for Hire is a great game. So that is going to do it for the video, for the review. Thank you guys for watching, hanging out, talking about Mouse PI for Hire. Let me know down in the comments, what did you think about Mouse PI for Hire? Have you played it? If not, are you going to check it out based on this review? Or are you going to wait for it? If you have played it, did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know down in the comments. Let's talk about Mouse PI for Hire. I had a great time with it. A lot of the parts of this game I really enjoyed. Some parts I still did enjoy, but could still see some improvement on it in the future. I still had a lot of fun. It was definitely worth the wait, especially with the art style and the visuals. The soundtrack, I think, all killed it. It carries this game so much and does a fantastic job. I had a great time with Mouse PI for Hire. So that's going to do it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I'll talk to you later.